Hey guys, it's me, Wes, again, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about my mission trip and just how it really started, just the first couple of days of being on the trip and how God had called me to do one thing and then changed it later on just to see if I would do it. The first day we left, the night before the first day, I remember picking up my backpack because we were backpacking across Europe or a couple of different countries. And I remember lifting it, and it being about 50 pounds. It was very heavy, and I was scared. It was so large, I didn't know what to do. I was like, oh man, I'm going to be walking so much. God has asked me to walk from where basically we're going to fly from Italy to London, and then London to Dublin, and then we were walking there, and then flying to Slovakia, and then from Slovakia going to Budapest, where we would meet my home church, and then we would finally head off to Romania for the rest of the trip. And I was thinking, this is going to be a really difficult trip, and God, I'm scared. I don't want to go. Please just allow me to stay. Please just stop me from having to go. So anyway, even though I really didn't want to go, and even though I was so scared, I said, God, I'm going to obey. Even though I don't want to do it, I'm going to obey. So I did, and I went, and the first day I remember just being really scared, and two of my friends, my close friends, dropped us off. First thing that happens, we get on the plane, we sit by two different people. And my friend sat by one and I sat by another. This is more of my testimony about it. And I sat next to this girl, her name was Chelsea. And I told her about Christ. I wanted to tell her about the validity of Scripture and all this other things, and she thought it was fascinating. She thought it was very interesting. And it was just cool how she was already open to Scripture, and I was like, all right, God, this is cool. I'm excited about this. I'm really glad that people are actually going to start listening. And then when we got off the plane, I met some other people. I didn't know their names, but they were on a business trip, and I decided to tell them a little bit about Christ, told them about what I was doing. It was the coolest thing. And then we got on the last plane going to Italy, and we met another girl, and she was just so cool. She just talked to us and why she was going to Italy, and then we told her why we were going. She just thought that was the coolest thing. And then my friend actually got to evangelize with her more, and we actually found her on Facebook, and we've talked to her, and we've kind of connected with her a little bit, and it was just kind of really cool to talk to her. So we get off the plane in Italy, and I'm looking at my friend saying, all right, so what next? And we were just confused because we had no idea what to do. We didn't know where to go. We didn't have any kind of contacts. Our phones wouldn't work, obviously. We couldn't speak the language, nothing. So we finally figured out where the train was, and we're like, whatever, let's just go to Venice. So we went to Venice. We knew it was around that area, so we took a train to Venice, and that took about 5 hours, and we just, honestly, we hadn't been awake. We had been awake for about 36 hours at the time, and we were exhausted, so we kind of napped a little bit on the train, and finally got to Venice and got off and just kind of hung around and finally found a phone. And obviously God provided in that way because we were really struggling finding that and whatnot. So finally we got in touch with one of the people over in Italy, and they said, oh yeah, just get on this train, we'll meet you there, blah blah blah. At this time, I don't remember what time it was. So I was like, all right, cool. So we got on the train, took about an hour, we met the guy, it was great. We finally got to go into the place. And it was the coolest thing because when we got there, they were just like, okay, just rest. Like, we got to rest for a good 3 days. It was nice because the travel to get there was just so tiresome. It just took a lot out of us. That's a little bit just kind of an opening of what the trip was like. That's just the getting there. There's a whole lot more to this story, and I'll definitely be talking about it more next week and talking more about how God changed the trip. He started out saying, hey, I want you to go to all these different countries, and then later changed it and said, actually, I just want you to stay in Italy. And I'm going to explain how that's what I believe to be an Isaac or an Abraham calling, an Abraham test, where Abraham is supposed to sacrifice Isaac. So, well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next week.